Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining today. So my name is Lisa Ma. I work at Hub with Eric Lee. And so today we are happy to kick off our Blockchain Founders Summit. And as you can hear, we have a lot of people joining from around the world. So our first half of today's summit, we're going to do a roundtable led by David Meltzer as our moderator. And we're going to do the second half. We're going to have an introduction of Lineal by Jesse, and we're going to do virtual networking during the second half. So with that, I would love to introduce David Meltzer. In case you haven't met David Meltzer is the co-founder of Sports One Marketing. He was the renowned former CEO of the Lee Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency that inspired the movie Jerry Maguire. And David's mission is empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And so with that, I would love to bring David on, and then we can have each of our guests introduce themselves. So David, I'm going to hand the mic off to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for allowing me to be here and talk about such an amazing topic as NFTs and crypto and blockchain and art, obviously at the forefront of so many of our business decisions right now, and so much confusion and insecurity surrounding it. And so what a pleasure and an honor it is to bring together some people who will give you an objective opinion of through their situational knowledge and experience of the market makers, the buy and sell side of what's going on, which so often is ignored. People get so emotionally attached to these new types of platforms and things that they make poor business decisions. And the people that we have here have extraordinary situational knowledge on the market maker, and the buy and sell side, so that you can pragmatically determine and align it with your own timing and risk tolerance. And that's where I'd like to just start as I allow everyone to introduce themselves. Is no matter what we're talking about, I think it's important to understand your own timing and risk tolerance needs to be applied to what you learn. So many people ignore the most important factor in building business, making investment, which is we all have individual timing and risk tolerance, and determinative upon certain investments may be good or bad, or certain business opportunities are aligned, synergistic, or supplementary to what you want to be successful. So as a big takeaway for everyone, make sure that you establish your own timing and risk tolerance before you adhere to the knowledge that these unbelievable entrepreneurs are going to share with us. So I thought just to start, we'll go around the horn. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, but also let us know what inspired you to get involved in the blockchain space, and maybe mention a few projects that you're working on so that everyone can build a framework of who you are and what you're working on to start out. So we'll start with my dear friend, super celebrity and celebrity, meaning he celebrates other people and elevates other people more than himself. Eric Lee, welcome. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hey, David, it's so great to see you again. I'll keep myself brief because there are a ton of experts in the room on NFTs. I'm Eric Lee. I'm one of the founders at Hub, and we are a identity and reputation platform. And we've created this platform to bring communities and events together. And so we're hosting this today. I'm very glad to see everyone at the event today.
I think you're on mute, David.
Yeah, sorry. This is my first time on Zoom. Thank you, guys. Just real quickly, what inspired you to get involved in blockchain, or what are you working on in the space right now?
Well, what inspired me to work on blockchain was that I began to see that there were issues around really robust identities on the internet, and as we all know, identity is a very important component of securing trust with other people, and blockchain, I think was in many ways an ideal solution to solve some of the problems related to how you verify people's identities, how you kind of maybe put ownership of that identity data back into the hands of users, and let them, really benefit from who they are. So, we're working in this area of blockchain to really realize that vision.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll get around the horn for some more of your unbelievable knowledge and inspiration. Sahil, I was hoping that you'd introduce yourself and let us know what you're doing and what inspires you in the blockchain space as well.
Sure. Thanks a lot, David, for having me. And Eric, again, great to reconnect with you here. So I'm Sahil. I'm one of the co-founders of Harmony. Harmony has been building a layer one scalable blockchain. We were really inspired by Ethereum in 2017, and we saw the challenges of hey, if we want to make these decentralized applications like the Facebooks and the Googles of the world, reaching billions of people, we need scalable infrastructure. So that's what Harmony set out to do. We're a sharded proof of stake blockchain. And I've been with the team for the past 3 years, trying to get us to a level where we can serve the next billion users into crypto. It's been super exciting. And why I got into this space is I think now I can articulate it well. I cared a lot about fairness and self-sovereignty, like Eric mentioned, identity protecting my own money, my own identity, my own reputation, and not letting these centralized walled gardens operate on it, right? So that's kind of what got me in this direction. And funnily, I went to business school where my sentiment for anti-establishment became stronger. So I think that's what got me in.
That's awesome. And thank you for being here. Now, from the middle of the night on the other side of the earth, Josh, we'll try to keep you awake and inspired here, but give us a little bit of background on yourself and blockchain and what inspires you and what you're working on.
Yeah, my name is Josh Fraser. I'm one of the two co-founders of Origin Protocol. We've been working in the blockchain space since 2017. I actually shared the stage many times with Eric during the time when everyone's doing the conference circuit. So this is a bit nostalgic for me. It's good to see Eric and looking forward to this. Origin has really been about how people can actually buy and sell things using cryptocurrency. And now we're launching this platform, or recently launched this platform for selling NFTs. And so that's been getting a lot of attention lately. We've been working with a lot of major names in the space who are getting into the space, from Blau, who did his record-breaking $11.7 million NFT sale on our platform, to new entrants like Ryan Tedder from One Republic, who's going to be dropping some NFTs on our platform in just 8 hours from now. And Bassjackers, Top 35 DJ, is going to be launching his NFTs this weekend. So we can talk more about that, but that's what we're doing at Origin. Somehow we've become this platform for people to sell NFTs. What got me into crypto and what excites me about it is just how it empowers people and how it maximizes personal liberty. And you see it through when you compare traditional finance to DeFi and crypto, you just have so much more freedom and so much more accessibility in this world. And that's something I find very inspiring.
Excellent. Now let's just do a little bit of hot seat roundtable. I like to keep things moving. So I'm going to go through 3 different things for your perspective on. You could talk about the market maker, the buy and sell side, or something that I'm missing. But I'm going to just go right back around Josh, then Sahil, then Eric. Then I'll go Eric, Sahil, and Josh. And then and there's 3 things we're going to go. First, I want your perspective on blockchain. We're going to go around the horn. Then I'll come back around the horn for the perspective on crypto, and then back around the horn for perspective on NFT. Just let's keep it moving fast. I want to know kind of your insight, your perspective. Josh, I'm gonna let you go first. What's your perspective on blockchain?
Revolutionary technology. I remember reading the Ethereum white paper in 2017, and it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, I'm going to work on this. I don't know. It was at that time. It wasn't like I'm going to work on this for the rest of my life, but I knew it was important, right? I knew this was like a very meaningful, important moment in my life. and I didn't know what we would use it for, but I knew that it was going to unlock a whole new class of problems we'd never been able to solve before in human history, and that was very exciting. I didn't know what it would unlock. We had some ideas. People obviously had some very grand visions on how decentralized technology was going to replace everything, and some of that came true, and some of it didn't, or it hasn't yet. But I do think it's an incredibly powerful technology, and I think we're still very much in the early innings of what is possible in this space.
Sahil?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's potentially the new rails for commerce on the internet over the next 10, 15 years. And that's the happy path or the bull scenario. Of course, it also gives some of the existing power bodies, governments, sovereign institutions, some kind of insecurity. So we'll see how that plays out. And I think that's probably the existential risk for some use cases. But I do feel that this technology has a lot of opportunity in so many different verticals. I think when I got in, David, I thought, hey, we could have AI data marketplaces on blockchain. I would contribute to these amazing new revolutionary healthcare, research by just letting people have my data. I know that's going to happen, but probably that's a few years out, right? So it's also like I think daily about product market fit. What is blockchain suitable for today? A lot of people can buy and sell Bitcoin and own it. Great. 2 years from now, it'll be another layer of opportunity. So that's how I think like use cases are going to keep on piling up, and it becomes the base rails for the internet.
Eric, what do you have to add to that?
Well, I feel like the old rocker in the room, who kind of saw the internet 1.0 days, and then when I stumbled upon blockchain in 2017, really my mind was blown, and there was a whole new set of principles around blockchain, and especially with decentralization and a whole new way of sort of organizing the internet, if you will. And who doesn't want to participate in a kind of a new revolution to kind of make their mark with some new tools and technologies. I do believe that in the last few years since we've all been working on this, there has been some really amazing use cases. First of all, starting with crypto, which is digital currency and assets, but DeFi is definitely burst onto the scene, and I think that's a very valid use case. I agree with Josh. Much of this is still at the beginning, including with DeFi, and then most recently, with NFT. I do believe also that is also going to be a valid use case because artists and creatives need a way to monetize their work, and NFT seems like a really great way to do that.
Absolutely, it reminds me. I'm older than you, I think, Eric. So in 1992, my mom told me the internet was a fad when I started getting involved out of law school. And the same thing was told to me about blockchain. But at a higher level, a lot of people don't realize that, I look for things that create efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success. I'm a high level thinker, and, I allow really brilliant people like you three to deal in the deeper nuances of how that works. But in a business process where I like to monetize things, anything that makes things more efficient, effective, and statistically successful allows me to make more money, help more people, and have more fun. Eric, how about your perspective on crypto itself? Of course, applicable to the blockchain, but crypto itself has so much action, so much momentum and emotion tied to it. How do you see crypto today?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to capture all that's going on in crypto in 30 seconds is probably what I have. But I think we've seen in the last year, it's really gained legitimacy. Particularly with all the institutions piling in. Just yesterday, it was announced that Tesla made $100 million on trading Bitcoin. So you're seeing a lot of institutions legitimizing this form of digital assets, and
Well, maybe Sahil, you'll pick up real quick because we got a frozen Eric.
Sure. Yeah.
in
So I
terms
think.
of just a sort of
Sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
store of value. Sorry, was that my internet cut out?
Yeah, there's this new thing called high-speed internet that you can get.
I'll definitely look into it, David.
Thank you. The dial-up service isn't any good anymore, Eric.
Yeah. So crypto is all good is my short answer.
All right, good. Thank you. We got most of it. All right, Sahil.
Right. I think legitimacy is definitely the word. I think we're all hoping to get more of by every passing day. But I feel like if you go back in time, venture capital, I think Eric and David, you have a much better perspective and the wisdom to see these trends before. Maybe in the 1960s, venture capital was an exotic asset class. Hey, we're going to go and invest in these innovative companies which could just, go to the, to the moon, or they could just go bust, right? We'll spend money on these ideas, and these VCs were like, hey, I have money to spend. And over time, you see it's become a pretty respectable asset classes. There are hedge funds, there are institutions which are investing money. So I feel like crypto's now in that early days of legitimacy where everything is pretty wild, and there's still valuation models. If you think about how to value crypto as an asset class, I think we're not there yet for most of the crypto. Probably Bitcoin and Ethereum are the front runners there, which have some understanding by a large group of audience or community. So I think it's all going in the positive direction, and I feel we should feel safe if there's uncertainty, because that's how naturally the whole crypto as an asset class will unwind.
And Josh, do you have anything to add to the crypto side?
It's just fundamentally better in every way. Every time you have to interact with traditional finance, you're just reminded on how awful it is. Why do I have to wait 3 days to ACH my money from one place to another? Why is it closed on weekends and after 5 p.m.? Why do I have to pay a $30 wire transfer fee and why do I have to pay fees to receive money sometimes? Why do I have to worry about it being seized or taken away from me? Why do I have to worry about conversion between if I want to send money internationally and how people are going to be able to receive it in another country? And so crypto solves all of those problems, and it solves it very elegantly. And for people like us who use crypto every day and just are very comfortable with it, every time we have to go back to traditional finance, we're just reminded of just how awful it is and how antiquated this entire system is. It feels like you're sending a fax, right? I mean, it's like I don't know how to deal with it. And we have to remember, it's like a whole generation is growing up with the internet, and their expectations are very different. Like they're not going to put up with the antiquated systems of the past. And crypto, it just makes a whole lot of sense, and I think that's why we're seeing it gain so much mainstream adoption. It's superior. It's better money than what we have.
What's so interesting is that some technology are transitory, and XML, for example, in the mid 90s when we used to transcode the internet to WAP phones, and IOTA browsers were being utilized. And as a young technology executive, I said, someday don't you think we'll just use a Windows browser and be able to have a convergence device, we call them, by 99, and be able to do this? And I see blockchain and crypto as very stable opportunities that will have their nuances of growth and depression, but I don't see any insecurity of them going anywhere. The one I'm not so convinced about is NFTs. And the reason is unlimited supply. And it is much more emotionally biased than crypto or blockchain in its own blocking and tackling. So I'd love, we'll start with you, Sahil, then go to Josh and finish with Eric. Can you give me your perspective of, the stability of NFTs and the future of NFTs?
Right. I think you're right, David. We're probably also not there in seeing the right kind of tools and right kind of support systems for NFTs to take off. Just like how you have your Facebook profile and LinkedIn profile, and we default to your profiles, right? These things have become default choices. I think NFTs will get there, but maybe a very quick aspect on the value which they can create. I think on the creation side, anyone has much more access, democratized access to create their NFTs to talk to their fans directly. To have, I think I love what Origin's doing with their concept of D shops, and marketplaces. You can do that today. All of these things are walled gardens. Only the top 1% people can actually make 80% of the money from their art, and I think that can change completely. On the collector side, today I can own what I value. I can share it. I can sell it whenever. There's better market price discovery. There are better platforms. I'm not held to the perils of these centralized marketplaces. So I see that there's a lot of fundamental value in letting these digital art or digital kind of anything that's digital can be created into an NFT. The only thing is, David, what he said, how can I trust an artist won't go and create n times more NFTs? I think we'll come to a level where we'll have reputation, identity. I think what Eric's working on, and some other even standardized tools across different NFT marketplaces on Harmony, on Ethereum, on another blockchain. So I think we'll get there, but that's kind of my thinking on the long-term direction of on value of NFTs.
And Josh, what do you have to add to that?
So humans have always enjoyed collecting and owning things. In the real world, we like buying houses and cars and watches and handbags and things to enjoy for ourselves and with our friends and to show off a bit and to flex. Well, what happens when you're building your identity in a digital world instead of an offline world? When you know someone on the other side of the world much better than you know someone who lives right next door to you. And that's true of me today, is probably true for you guys as well. And so, but that desire to own things and to collect things is still there. It's just happening in a digital world instead. And so for, again, people are growing up with the internet, this is a very natural and organic thing. I still want to own things, but I'm gonna do it in the place where I'm hanging out, which is online. So it's online with my friends. That's where I want to own and collect things. And it's not just about art. I think when you think about, again, antiquated systems, right? The title for your home, you've got to go down to the courthouse and do all this research to see if there's any liens against your property title. Wouldn't that make more sense to live on a decentralized database like a blockchain? Well, it would. The problem is it doesn't work unless you have 100% participation. And so that's why we're seeing it take off in the art category first, because 100% participation needs to be for one artist. And so that's very easy to make happen. But I think we're going to see other examples as this technology becomes more prevalent, that people are going to say, hey, let's modernize the system. Let's actually put all of our information where we need to have track owners of all sorts of things, right? Whether it's property, or art or music or whatever things you can own in a digital form or in an offline form. Let's track it in a database that we can all see and we can all verify and have total clarity on who the true owner of this item or our good is.
And Eric, you are the king of that identity side of things. Is there's some more experienced situational knowledge of how NFTs will be used, because my greatest concern, Eric, is that in some aspects of how it's being used today, when people are hitting up David Meltzer to create an NFT, there's a physical limitation to some collectibles, and that's why the market has such value. When you take away the physical limitation of being able to create so many pieces of content digitally, and so many people being able to create so many pieces of content digitally, that's what makes me so insecure about the marketplace of NFTs as it's seen today. Obviously, there's some value and capabilities of NFTs that will be applicable, that will be utilized and successful. How do you today decipher, with all your experience, where the winning proposition is and where some of the losers are going to be?
Well, with NFTs, I mean, I view it as, in a way, a tool, just like many other, tools, and tools can be used for good and they can be used for bad as well. And so
this is like the Hall of Justice. We're all superheroes now, and we're going to determine what we're using our technology for.
Well, it's like we found this. It's like we found this new hammer.
Can I be Batman?
Everything looks like a nail.
He's the richest superhero. I'll be Batman. Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good. we can take dibs with who we want to be in the Hall of Justice. But there's a lot of kind of rampant experimentation right now with NFTs, and that's natural for something that's new. I mean, we have to remember that this began in the early days with crypto kitties, back in 2000, I believe 17, 18, timeframe. But we've come a long way, since then. And what I find, to be especially interesting about, NFTs are really this sense of authenticity about, artifacts. You can actually have a digital, record that represents, either a real world object or a virtual, object that has value. And the fact that, it's a unique artifact that, someone can actually own, and recorded on the blockchain is something that is, I think, very a new innovation in the world of creative work and artifacts. So I think as the early experimentation kind of shakes out, we'll actually find really interesting use cases for how NFTs can really help creators and artists of many kinds really gain value, monetize value from the artifacts that they create. So I think a lot of the early experimentation will shake out for us at Hub. I think our intersection with NFTs is really in representing the identities and the reputations of those who transact, and to making sure that people who create these types of NFTs are maybe hopefully real, and have a reputable identity, but also participating in those transactions, because we're talking now about some fairly large and significant transactions that happen between buyers and sellers, and so then we can lend a hand in terms of helping making sure that those transactions are legitimate and authentic.
You guys are amazing. I got a few minutes left before I got to jump. So real quickly, one of the things that I've learned is that a lot of people will listen to a panel, a speech, and they haven't gotten a takeaway. So I want everybody to get their pens, papers, and pads and laptops out. Just quickly around the horn, can we share a takeaway, your favorite takeaway, a number one takeaway that you'd like people to get from this? Josh, I'll start with you, go to Sahil, and then finish with Eric. What's one of the takeaways that people should get from this?
Well, sort of riffing off of your question, David, around how do you actually enforce scarcity? Throw the question back at you in the form of like, what stops people from minting ERC20 tokens? Technologically, it's the same thing. It's this alphanumeric string that lives on the blockchain. If you go on Etherscan and search for OGN, there's 50 tokens that are claiming to be OGN, but there's only one that's like sanctioned by us, and is the one that you can buy on Coinbase or Binance or wherever. And so it's this exact same thing here, because the technology is very accessible to anyone. But really what it comes down to is the community that you build around it. The community is really what matters more than anything. And that's a takeaway. It's true for ERC20 tokens. What makes this one more valuable than that one? Well, it's the community of people who have agreed this one's the one that's going to be valuable. It's the exact same thing in NFTs. That community that you build around that piece of art, that artist that says, hey, we want to support this artist and his work, that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Awesome. Sahil, great point.
Yeah, I think one of the key things, principles, which is true for anything, but here we're talking about NFTs, we're talking about DeFi, we're talking about the crypto rails. The only way to learn more every day, of course, is attending these panels, but trying it for yourself. I think buy an NFT today, go and interact with MetaMask on a crypto wallet, and check out Etherscan or all these blockchain explorers, come to Harmony, DaVinci is a marketplace. So I think these are all things that once you try it out, you learn something more every day. And even if things break, that's the only way to learn. So I think that's an important takeaway, especially with these toys, which, things like NFTs. So yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I echo what Sahil says. I think it's important to engage and as a way to learn about this new technology, but also to be careful. Out there, there's a lot of noise out there, and exercise your judgment. And if something is too good to be true, it probably still is too good to be true.
An oldie but a goodie, and the AAA strategy of alignment, action, and adjustment, I think, is prevailing all of the commentary that we have. And thank you, all three of you, for proving that I'm in the right room, because there is an old saying, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. So thanks for proving I'm in the right room. You guys are incredible. I think there's been some great lessons and insight on what is a very confusing and crowded right now space. And so thank you for the clarity and genius that you've brought to the group. I want to thank Lisa and Jake, especially, for helping me and providing us this platform to help people. As always, remember, be kind to your future self, do good deeds. Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, David.
Thanks, David.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So we're gonna use the next segment for Q&A, and I think there are questions in the chat. But I would, one of the reasons why we're having this Blockchain Founder Summit is for us to be heard and to be seen and to connect. So I would invite you to, if you have questions, either drop into the chat or actually open your mic. So I see there's a question from John Miglia. Feel free to unmute and ask your question, John, and others feel free to also drop or raise your hand if you want to say a question.
Okay, great. Hi, Lisa. I've been here before, but I'm not here that often, so I appreciate you just letting me come on the camera and ask a question, as you never know who you're going to get in here sometimes. But anyways, my question kind of was already answered in the beginning, because I guess I'm just kind of learning the difference between how, I understand crypto and DeFi and NFT, but what kind of makes maybe DeFi is my first question. Kind of giving me a little more understanding of how what each one is, but also is Dogecoin, some of these kind of smaller coins going to be like much more valuable later on, how to kind of pinpoint that. And I would say just like would you also recommend picking something like a Binance or something that you can have your own very private wallet and staying out of these kind of regulated companies as well? So that's a lot there, but sorry.
Who would like
Did
to
that all make sense?
Yeah, so I can take a stab at these. So for storing your funds, if you don't control the keys, it's not your crypto, and so I would definitely encourage you to store it yourself, and use the exchanges to get in and get out. But you probably want to figure out how to store it yourself. Dogecoin, it really comes down to the strength of the community. Like I was saying, the value of Doge is based entirely on the people around the world who believe in Doge and are excited about it. And so as much as you can measure that level of excitement, that's a good proxy for how the coin is going to do. As Elon Musk tweeted, whoever controls the memes controls the universe. And so I think that's pretty apt here. As far as DeFi, the main things in DeFi right now that are getting a ton of traction are lending, particularly over collateralized lending, platforms like Compound and Aave, where you can lock up some of your crypto and then borrow other types of crypto. And that's a lot more useful and exciting than it sounds on the surface. But it enables a whole lot of really interesting behaviors. And then the second category we see doing really well is trading. Things like Uniswap, or its forks like SushiSwap, 1inch, Curve for stable coins. These are the things that are getting the most traction today. And so it allows you to actually swap between different types of currencies without having to go for a centralized exchange like a Coinbase or a Binance. And it allows you to be sovereign and have total control over your own funds at all times.
Uniswap.
Uniswap.
Who's that with? Oh, Uniswap. Yeah, I've done that with Theta actually before, so I'm still learning, but that's great. I'm glad I'm on the right track. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John, for your question, and thank you, Josh. Great insight. So I'm gonna invite Jesse to the spotlight. So one of the projects that Jesse and Lucia Foundation is working on is Wisdom in Art, Wisdom and Nature Art. So I would love to invite Jesse to introduce Lucia. Maybe also, if you have a question about, for this, our guest here, you can also ask. So Jesse, I would love to invite you to.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, and hi everyone. I'm a little bit new to this space, but I've been sort of immersing myself along with the team in the crypto and NFT and blockchain world recently, and it's absolutely fascinating in the direction we're moving in. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing so you understand why I'm here and why I'm talking. So I'm a co-founder of Le Ciel Foundation, and we're a UK-based charity. And much in the same way that crypto and blockchain is really bridging a world and creating a complete new paradigm and a new opening in technology and in the finance world, Le Ciel Foundation's vision is to create a bridge between ancestral wisdom and the modern world, so that we can bring in some of that knowledge held, that's still very much alive within indigenous cultures, for example, even the knowledge held within nature, and bring that into the way we create systems in the modern world. So there's a real parallel between what we're doing to create a shift for humanity and what crypto and blockchain are doing to create a shift in the way we operate really as a society. And so just today we held our Wisdom in Nature fundraising auction at Christie's, and we'll soon be bringing our first NFT sale this June, as well, on the theme of wisdom in nature, since that's such a key for us. And we're, in the same ways we bridge the wisdom of ancestral knowledge in the modern world, we'll be bridging the traditional art space with the NFT space. And so that's why it's so wonderful to be here and learn from you, because if I had a question, it would be how best to create that bridge, because for us, it's about communicating things simply and allowing people to have access to the NFT world and an understanding of it, even if it's not their original comfort zone. But through the NFT space, having an understanding of blockchain, and perhaps a small one, but an understanding of the potential held in what we can do as a community and coming together as community. So I don't want to talk much more. I don't know how much time I have, Lisa, but that's just very briefly.
Can you share a little bit about the plan for NFT that you're looking at?
Yeah, of course. One of our principal values being around respecting nature and giving back to nature, and that being a pillar within all of our projects. We obviously have to be very mindful around the energy consumption side of the NFT sale. So we're doing all the research we possibly can to find out how we can make them do the most energy efficient sale, with a handful of artists who also value giving back to nature and that element of reciprocity. So that's the phase we're in right now of seeing how it is we can create an NFT sale that really gives back to the NFT world as well, because it's giving back to nature and taking into consideration the impact the NFTs have on the environment.
Amazing. Thank you, Jesse, for the intro. So with that, I would love to actually have one more question for our panel here. One of the things that excites me a lot about blockchain is the financial inclusion. So what's your view on that?
Eric, you want to go ahead first?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. But let our other guests chime in as well. I think that one of the promises of crypto, digital assets, and digital currency is really bringing more financial inclusion to the world. The fact that you could have a global currency or asset that is tradable with much less friction than before does open it up for those who maybe don't have access to kind of the dominant currencies and assets in the world. So that's definitely one aspect. The other aspect, frankly, is really, DeFi and what it, can do. One of the problems is that, with centralized institutions, they need, a certain, kind of market, market or market size to actually have a business, in those, markets, and they're relegated to certain, operating in, certain, countries. It's hard to kind of go across, different countries with different regulations. So the promise of DeFi is to, essentially open up the market to, essentially the, citizens of the world, and allow them to participate in this global, market. And so that's really where the promise of DeFi, is in, bringing, more people. There's often talk about the unbanked and the underbanked, but that's the promise of DeFi, is to bring those people in and to allow them to participate in this sort of worldwide economy and marketplaces.
For too long, people have been left out of the best financial opportunities. We have laws for requiring investors to be accredited, which means you're officially rich to be able to participate in private sales of equities. And this means that a lot of people are left out from the highest yield opportunities. Securities are notoriously hard to buy from other countries. If you live in Vietnam, how are you going to buy shares of Google or Facebook or these high growth tech companies? It's very, very hard or difficult to do that. And a lot of people are being left out of the best opportunities of this time. And so crypto changes that. All you need is a cell phone and a connection to the internet, and you can have access to the best opportunities out there. And it levels the playing field and gives people a new level of inclusion, and that's never really been possible before.
I think one last dimension, besides what Eric and Josh mentioned, is of course, I think the basic things like sending money to family abroad, or even having a savings account, right? And just these basic things are now possible with a mobile phone, a wallet, stable coins. You can hold the same stable currency. You always don't have to go and invest in these other assets, crypto assets. But it's so easy for anyone to send money with transparency, without waiting and checking with your bank, hey, is the money come in, and what exchange rate would I get when I'm sending money back home to family. So I think those are very essential things which we've just gotten used to, because you have to go with the current market structure. You have to have a bank, you have to go with these processing payment providers, and so many other players in the middle. So I think that itself is huge. People are accepting, in countries like India, inflation usually goes to 6 to 7%, and savings account is going to give you probably lesser. So you're losing money every year, right? So there's basic forms of saving money. Now, with crypto, you can reimagine that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to thank our special panels of blockchain founders today, Eric Lee, Sahil, and Josh, and of course, David. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming together, and thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. This is actually going to be the kickoff of our monthly Blockchain Founders Summit. So I do invite you, all of you, to come back and to connect. Also to let you know, the moment that you decided to sign up for this event, you're actually all connected already. So when you go to Hub, you can actually find all the speakers and find each other. So this is how we activate networking on Hub before the event, during the event, and after the event. So as you can see, you can click on profiles to find each other, and you can message one another. For instance, as you can see my photo here, click on me. If you have your profile of your links, you can actually just connect on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Twitter, and your website. So I do encourage you to, if you don't have a profile created already, just to add your links, so that way you can connect in different ways. Because the whole point of this is to bring us together, but really it's meant so that you stay connected, and that if you met someone today that resonates with you, do schedule maybe a follow-up. In that way, you take it to the next level, right? That's what making meaningful connection is about. So again,
Lisa, very good.
Very
good.
Yeah. Great to see you, and thank you all. Thank you, Corey and Peter and Jesse and and everyone who's here today. So yeah, and Jay, here's Jay. So you know what? I'm gonna take a Zoom selfie. I should do this in the beginning, but I always get so excited. Let's take a Zoom selfie. So turn on your camera if you like, and let's take a selfie. Ready? All right, ready? Awesome. There we go. Don't you love that sound? Anyway, thank you. And Josh, thank you for joining from Taiwan. And thank you everybody for joining from
Thanks to the panelists. Really, really great conversation. Appreciate it.